Tae-hyung, breathe. Please, baby, just breathe. Amara's scream echoed through the massive hallway of the mansion. It was a sound of pure terror. Just seconds ago, Tae-hyung was holding her hand, standing tall and strong. Now he was lying on the cold, white marble floor. His face was turning a scary shade of gray. His eyes were rolled back in his head. Amara dropped to her knees. Her expensive dress ripped at the seams, but she didn't care. She pressed her hands against his chest. As a nurse, she knew exactly what to look for, but her hands were shaking so hard she could barely feel anything. No pulse. There was no heartbeat. Standing over them was Madam Choi, Tae-hyung's mother. The older woman wasn't moving to help. She was frozen like a statue, her hand covering her mouth. Her eyes were wide, but not just with fear. She looked at Amara with pure hatred. You, Madam Choi whispered, her voice trembling with rage. You did this. You stressed him. You killed my son. Amara ignored her. She started pumping Tae-hyung's chest. 1, 2, 3, 4. She counted, tears streaming down her face, splashing onto Tae-hyung's expensive suit. Come back to me, Tae-hyung. Don't you dare leave me. But Tae-hyung didn't move. He lay there, silent and still, in the middle of the golden house that felt more like a tomb. Let's go back 3 hours earlier to see how this nightmare began. 3 hours earlier, Amara was in her small kitchen. The air smelled delicious. It smelled of spices, peppers, and slow-cooked meat. Amara was humming a happy tune. She was making her grandmother's special egusi soup. It was Tae-hyung's favorite dish, even though he had grown up eating fancy Korean food. Amara was nervous. Today was the day. Today, she was finally going to meet Tae-hyung's parents. She looked in the mirror. She wore a simple, elegant blue dress that stopped at her knees. She had styled her hair carefully. She wanted to look perfect. She knew that Tae-hyung came from a very wealthy family. His father owned huge electronics companies, and his mother, Madam Choi, was known for being very strict and traditional. Do I look okay? Amara asked the empty room. She took a deep breath. You can do this, Amara. They will love you because you make their son happy. She packed the food into a nice container and walked outside. Tae-hyung was waiting in his car. It was a black luxury car that probably cost more than Amara's entire apartment building. When he saw her, his face lit up with a smile. Wow, Tae-hyung said, getting out to open her door. You look beautiful, Amara. I'm nervous, Amara admitted, clutching the bag of food. What if they don't like me? I brought the soup. Do you think that's okay? Tae-hyung kissed her forehead gently. My father is away on business, so it's just my mother. She can be a little cold. But once she sees how much we love each other, she will melt. Don't worry. I am right there with you. They drove for 30 minutes, leaving the busy city streets and entering a quiet, rich neighborhood. The houses here looked like castles. Finally, they pulled up to a giant iron gate. It slowly opened, revealing a house that was bigger than a hotel. Amara's heart started beating fast. Boom, boom, boom. They walked up the stairs to the front door. A maid opened it before they could even knock. Welcome home, young master, the maid said, bowing low. She looked at Amara with surprise but said nothing. They walked into the dining room. It was huge. There was a long table set with silver forks and crystal glasses. Sitting at the very end of the table was a woman. She had sharp eyes and was wearing a suit that looked like it cost $1 million. She was sipping tea. She didn't look up when they entered. Mother, Tae-hyung said, squeezing Amara's hand. I'm home. And this is Amara. Madam Choi slowly put down her teacup. The sound of the cup hitting the saucer was loud in the silent room. Clink. She looked up. Her eyes scanned Amara from head to toe. She looked at Amara's hair. She looked at Amara's skin. She looked at Amara's dress. Her face showed no smile. No warmth. Only disgust. So, Madam Choi said. Her voice was smooth but sharp, like a knife. This is the friend you have been spending so much time with. She is my girlfriend, Mother, Tae-hyung corrected her firmly. We have been together for 2 years. Madam Choi ignored him. She pointed a manicured finger at the bag in Amara's hand. What is that? Amara stepped forward, trying to be brave. Good evening, ma'am. It is a pleasure to meet you. I brought a gift. It is a traditional dish from my culture. Tae-hyung loves it, and I thought, you brought outside food into my house? Madam Choi interrupted. She wrinkled her nose as if she smelled something bad. Give it to the maid. Maybe the dogs will eat it. Amara froze. She felt like someone had slapped her. She had spent hours cooking that food with love. Mother, Tae-hyung snapped. That was incredibly rude. Apologize. Sit down, Madam Choi commanded, ignoring his anger. Since you are here, you will eat the dinner my chefs prepared. Not that, whatever that is. They sat down. The dinner was painful. Servants brought out many small plates of Korean food. Amara tried to eat, but her stomach was tied in knots. Madam Choi didn't speak to Amara. She spoke only to Tae-hyung, and she spoke in Korean very fast. Amara didn't understand everything, but she understood the tone. It was angry. Finally, Madam Choi switched to English. She looked directly at Amara. Tell me, Miss Amara. How much? Amara blinked, confused. Excuse me? How much money do you want? Madam Choi asked calmly, taking a sip of wine. My son is young. He is handsome. He is the heir to a billion-dollar empire. And you? You are a nurse. You struggle to pay rent. I know about you. I did a background check. Amara gasped. You investigated me? Of course, Madam Choi said coldly. I have to protect my family from gold diggers. You see a lonely rich boy, and you see a lottery ticket. But let me tell you something. You do not fit in this picture. Look at this house. Look at us. Then look at yourself. You are a stain on a pure white cloth. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She had never been insulted like this in her life. She looked at Tae-hyung. Tae-hyung was shaking. His hands were clenched into fists on the table. His knuckles were white. That is enough, Tae-hyung said. His voice was low and dangerous. It is not enough, Madam Choi continued, her voice rising. Break up with him tonight, and I will write you a check for $50,000. Take it and go back to wherever you came from. Leave my son alone. Tae-hyung slammed his hands on the table. The plates rattled. Bang! He stood up so fast his chair fell backward. I said enough, he shouted. His voice echoed off the high ceilings. I am done, mother. I brought the woman I love to meet you, hoping you would show just an ounce of kindness. But you are cruel. He turned to Amara and grabbed her hand gently. Come on, Amara. We are leaving. We are never coming back here. Amara stood up, wiping her tears. She wanted to leave. She wanted to get as far away from this woman as possible. If you walk out that door, Tae-hyung, Madam Choi said, standing up too, you lose everything. The inheritance. The car. The credit cards. You will have nothing. Tae-hyung looked his mother in the eye. Keep your money. I choose her. He pulled Amara toward the door. They took 2 steps. Suddenly, Tae-hyung stopped. He gasped. It was a wet, wheezing sound. Ho-hh. Tae-hyung? Amara asked, looking up at him. His face went pale instantly. All the color drained from his skin. He brought his hand up to his chest, clutching his expensive suit jacket. His eyes went wide with confusion and pain. Amara, he whispered. My chest, it hurts. Tae-hyung. Amara cried out. His knees buckled. It happened in slow motion. The strong man who had just defended her crumbled toward the floor. Thud. He hit the marble floor hard. No. No, no, no. Amara screamed, dropping to her knees beside him. This brings us back to the nightmare. Tae-hyung was not breathing. Amara was pumping his chest, using all her strength. Stay with me. Come on. Madam Choi was screaming now, losing all her composure. Do something. Why isn't he moving? You did this to him. Call an ambulance. Amara yelled at the frozen mother. Call them now. His heart has stopped. Madam Choi scrambled for her phone, her hands shaking so much she dropped it. Amara leaned down and blew air into Tae-hyung's mouth. She checked for a pulse again. Nothing. His skin was getting colder. Please God, no, Amara prayed, tears blinding her vision. Don't take him. Not now. Not like this. The maid rushed in, crying. The house was in chaos. But in the center of the room, silence was winning. Tae-hyung lay motionless. The love of Amara's life was slipping away right in front of her, on the floor of the house that hated her. Suddenly, Tae-hyung's body jerked. A violent spasm. Then he went completely limp. His hand, which Amara was holding, slipped from her grip and hit the floor. Amara put her ear to his chest. Silence. She looked up at Madam Choi, her face streaked with tears and terror. He's gone, Amara whispered. His heart isn't beating. Clear. Zap. Tae-hyung's body jerked on the stretcher as the paramedics shocked his chest. The siren of the ambulance was screaming, but inside, the silence was terrifying. Amara was squeezed into the corner of the ambulance, holding Tae-hyung's cold hand. Come on, baby. Come on, she whispered, tears blurring her vision. Don't you dare give up. The heart monitor was making a weak, uneven sound. Beep, beep, beep. We're losing him again, the paramedic shouted. Driver, step on it. Madam Choi was in her own luxury car following the ambulance, but Amara was right there in the chaos. She watched as they stuck needles into his arms and pushed tubes down his throat. The man who had laughed with her just hours ago was now fighting for every single breath. Suddenly, the monitor let out a long, high-pitched noise. Beep. Flatline, the paramedic yelled. Charging paddles. Clear. Zap. Amara covered her mouth to stop a scream. Stop. This is the moment where everything changes. Money, power, and pride don't matter when a heart stops beating. The ambulance tires screeched as they pulled up to the emergency entrance of Seoul National Hospital. The doors flew open. Male, 26 years old. Cardiac arrest. No prior history, the paramedic shouted as they wheeled the stretcher out. A team of doctors and nurses in blue scrubs swarmed around Tae-hyung like bees. They ran him down the hallway. Amara tried to run with them, but a nurse held her back. Ma'am, you can't go in there. You have to wait here. That's my boyfriend, Amara cried, trying to push past. He needs me. Let the doctors work, the nurse said firmly, pushing her toward the waiting room. Amara stood alone in the bright, white hallway. Her dress was torn. Her hands were still shaking from doing CPR. She felt cold. Moments later, the double doors at the entrance burst open. Madam Choi marched in. She didn't look like a worried mother. She looked like a general going to war. She was on her phone. I don't care what time it is, she was screaming into the phone. Get the head of the hospital down here now. Tell him the Choi family is here. If my son dies, I will buy this hospital and burn it to the ground. She hung up and saw Amara standing there. Madam Choi's eyes narrowed. She walked straight up to Amara. You, she spat the word out. Why are you still here? I am waiting to hear if he is alive, Amara said, her voice trembling. You have done enough, Madam Choi hissed. The doctor said he had a stress-induced attack. You are the stress. If you had just stayed away, my son would be eating dinner right now. Instead, he is dying. Amara wanted to defend herself, but she was too exhausted. She sat down in a plastic chair, putting her head in her hands. Hours passed. The clock on the wall ticked loudly. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Finally, a doctor with gray hair walked out. He looked tired. This was Dr. Kim, the best heart specialist in the country. Madam Choi rushed to him. Where is my son? Is he awake? I want to see him. Dr. Kim took off his glasses and sighed. Madam Choi, please sit down. I will not sit, she snapped. Tell me. Your son is in critical condition, Dr. Kim said seriously. He is alive, but barely. We found the problem. It is a very rare genetic condition. His heart valve has collapsed. It is not pumping blood correctly. So fix it, Madam Choi demanded. I have money. I will pay double. Triple. Just do the surgery. Dr. Kim shook his head slowly. Money cannot fix this, madam. We cannot repair the valve. It is too damaged. Tae-hyung needs a transplant. He needs a new heart valve immediately. Fine, Madam Choi said, pulling out her checkbook. Get him one. Now. It is not that simple, Dr. Kim explained gently. Tae-hyung has a very rare blood type, AB negative. We checked the national donor list. There is no match available. We checked the international list. No match. Madam Choi dropped her checkbook. What? What are you saying? I am saying, Dr. Kim said, his voice grave, that unless we find a matching donor within 48 hours, Tae-hyung's heart will stop again. And next time, we won't be able to restart it. The room went silent. The powerful Madam Choi, who could buy buildings and islands, looked small. She grabbed the doctor's arm. Test me. Take my heart valve. I am his mother. We already tested your blood from the samples we have on file, Dr. Kim said. You are type A. You are not a match. Neither is his father. Madam Choi staggered back, hitting the wall. She slid down to the floor, weeping. My money, all my money, and I can't save him? Amara sat in the corner, listening. Her heart was breaking for Tae-hyung. She stood up slowly. Amara started to speak. Can I see him? Madam Choi looked up from the floor. Her sadness instantly turned back to rage. She stood up and pointed a shaking finger at the exit. Get out, she screamed. Please, Amara begged. I love him. I just want to hold his hand. Security. Madam Choi yelled at the top of her lungs. Security. Get this woman out of here. 2 large security guards in uniforms came running. She is trespassing. Madam Choi lied. She is harassing a grieving family. Throw her out. Ma'am, you need to leave, one of the guards said, grabbing Amara's arm. No. Please. Amara cried, struggling against the guard. He might die. I need to say goodbye. Tae-hyung needs me. He needs a heart, not a gold digger. Madam Choi shouted. Get her out of my sight. And if she comes back, arrest her. The guards dragged Amara backward. She dug her heels into the floor, her shoes screeching against the tiles. Tae-hyung. Tae-hyung. She screamed his name, hoping he could hear her through the walls. They dragged her through the automatic doors and threw her onto the concrete sidewalk outside the hospital. It had started to rain. Stay out, the guard warned, standing in front of the door. Amara lay on the wet pavement, the rain mixing with her tears. She was alone. She was banned from the building. And the man she loved had less than 48 hours to live. She looked up at the towering hospital building. The lights were on in the VIP wing on the top floor. Somewhere up there, Tae-hyung was dying. Amara wiped the rain from her face. A look of determination crossed her eyes. Madam Choi thought she could get rid of her that easily? She was wrong. Amara stood up. She reached into her purse and pulled out her nurse ID badge. She didn't work at this hospital, but she knew the system. And she knew something Madam Choi didn't. I'm not leaving you, Tae-hyung, she whispered to the wind. Not without a fight. She walked around the corner of the building, toward the staff-only entrance. Wait, don't close the door. Amara held her breath and slipped through the heavy metal staff-only door just before it clicked shut behind a janitor. She was inside. She was soaking wet from the rain. Her dress was ruined, and she was shivering. But she didn't stop. She knew she had to be invisible. If the security guards saw her, they would throw her out again, or worse, call the police. Amara took off her high heels and carried them. She ran down the white hallways in her bare feet. Slap, slap, slap. The floor was cold. She hid behind a cart full of towels when a nurse walked by. Her heart was beating so loud she was sure everyone could hear it. Thump thump, thump thump. She had to find Dr. Kim's office. She had to save Tae-hyung. Stop. Amara is risking everything right now. Her safety, her freedom, and maybe even her life. Amara found the office marked Dr. Kim, Chief of Cardiology. The light was still on. She didn't knock. She pushed the door open and burst inside. Dr. Kim jumped in his chair. He looked exhausted. He had his head in his hands, looking at Tae-hyung's medical file. He looked like a man who had lost hope. Who are you? Dr. Kim asked, standing up. You cannot be in here. This is a restricted area. I am the woman who loves him, Amara said, breathless. She walked further into the room, dripping water onto the carpet. And I am a match. Dr. Kim sighed and took off his glasses. Miss, please. The security told me about you. You are the girlfriend. I know you are upset, but we need a donor with AB-negative blood. It is the rarest blood type in Korea. The chances of you having it are less than 1%. I am a universal recipient, Amara said firmly. My mother was Nigerian, and my father was, well, let's just say I have rare blood too. I am AB-negative. I know it. Dr. Kim looked at her. He saw the desperation in her eyes. But he also saw confidence. Please, Amara begged, rolling up her sleeve. Just test me. What do you have to lose? If I am wrong, I will leave and never come back. But if I am right, you can save him. Dr. Kim hesitated for a second. Then he grabbed a tourniquet and a needle. Sit down. Fast. He drew a vial of her dark red blood. Stay here. Do not move. If Madam Choi sees you, she will fire me. Dr. Kim ran out of the room with the blood sample. Amara sat alone in the quiet office. She looked at a picture on the doctor's desk. It was a photo of a family smiling. She wondered if she and Tae-hyung would ever have a family. Or was this the end? 10 minutes passed. Then 20. The silence was heavy. Suddenly, the door flew open. Dr. Kim stood there. His face was pale. His mouth was slightly open. He was holding a piece of paper that was shaking in his hand. It is impossible, he whispered. Amara stood up. Tell me. It is a perfect match, Dr. Kim said, his voice full of shock. Not just the blood type. The tissue markers. Everything. It is like you were made to save him. Amara let out a sob of relief. Then do it. Take my heart valve. Take whatever you need. Dr. Kim closed the door and locked it. He walked over to her and looked her in the eyes. Miss Amara, listen to me carefully. This is not a simple blood donation. Tae-hyung needs a live tissue transplant. We have to perform a very invasive surgery on you. We have to open your chest to take a part of the valve tissue. I don't care, Amara said instantly. You should care, Dr. Kim warned. The recovery will be brutal. You will be in severe pain for weeks. You will have a scar down your chest for the rest of your life. And there is a risk. You could have a reaction to the anesthesia. You could die on that table. Amara looked down at her chest. She imagined the scar. Then she imagined a world without Tae-hyung. He is my world, doctor, Amara said softly. A scar is a small price to pay for his life. Prepare the surgery. Dr. Kim nodded slowly with deep respect. Okay, I will call Madam Choi and tell her we found a donor. No, Amara shouted. Dr. Kim stopped. What? You cannot tell her it is me, Amara said, her eyes fierce. You know how much she hates me. She thinks I am a gold digger. She thinks I am dirty. If she knows this heart valve is coming from me, her pride is so big, she might refuse it. She might let him die rather than accept help from a black girl. Dr. Kim looked down. He knew Madam Choi. He knew Amara was right. She cannot know, Amara continued. Tell her it was an anonymous donor. Someone who died in a car accident. Anything. Just don't tell her it's me. You are saving his life, Dr. Kim said, amazed. And you want no credit? You want to let her keep treating you like trash. I don't need credit, Amara said, tears falling again. I just need him to breathe. Dr. Kim took a deep breath. Okay, I will protect your identity. But we have to move now. His heart rate is dropping. 30 minutes later. Amara was lying on a hospital bed. She was wearing a green surgical gown. A nurse was putting N4 into her hand. The room was cold. The lights were bright. We are moving you to operating room 2, the nurse said. The patient Tae-hyung is in operating room 1. You will be side by side. They wheeled Amara out into the hallway. As they rolled past the waiting room, Amara turned her head. She saw Madam Choi. The older woman was sitting on a bench, her head bowed in prayer. She looked broken. She had no idea that the stain she wanted to remove was the only thing saving her son. They pushed Amara into the operating room. It smelled like antiseptic. Machines were beeping. Dr. Kim leaned over her. He was wearing a mask now. Are you ready, Amara? Save him, Amara whispered. Promise me you will save him. I will do my best, Dr. Kim said. He nodded to the anesthesiologist. Put her under. The nurse placed a plastic mask over Amara's nose and mouth. Count backward from 10, she said. 10. Amara thought of Tae-hyung's smile. 9. She thought of the way he held her hand. 8. She thought of the insults Madam Choi threw at her. 7. Her eyes felt heavy. The room started to spin. The last thing she heard was the sound of the heart monitor speeding up. Beep, 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 beep. Then darkness. The surgery began. The knife touched her skin. But as the doctors worked to save Tae-hyung, something went wrong in Amara's room. A machine started wailing loudly. WOWOO. Her blood pressure is dropping, a nurse shouted. We are losing her. Stabilize her. Dr. Kim yelled from the other room. Don't let the donor die. Amara had given her heart to save Tae-hyung. But now, it looked like she might have to pay the ultimate price. Beep. The sound of death filled the operating room. She's gone. No pulse, the nurse screamed. Dr. Kim looked from Tae-hyung's open chest to Amara's lifeless body on the other table. He had to make a choice. Finish the transplant to save the son, or stop everything to save the girl who gave the heart. Get the defibrillator. Dr. Kim roared, sweat pouring down his face. Charge to 200. We are not losing her today. She did not make this sacrifice just to die. Thump. Amara's body jumped. The monitor stayed flat. Thump. Again. Silence. Dr. Kim grabbed the paddles himself. Come on, Amara. Fight. Thump. Beep, beep, beep. A weak rhythm returned. The room let out a collective breath. She was alive, but she was deep in a coma. They quickly finished stitching her up. They had taken a piece of her, and now, that piece was inside Tae-hyung. Stop. They are both alive, but the danger isn't over. The secrets are about to destroy this family. Before we see the moment Tae-hyung wakes up, I have a question. Has anyone ever told a lie about you to make themselves look better? It hurts, doesn't it? Tell me what happened in the comments, and don't forget to tell me your country. Now let's go to the recovery room. 8 hours later. The sun was rising over Seoul. The VIP recovery room was silent and luxurious. It smelled like fresh flowers. Tae-hyung opened his eyes. His chest felt heavy, like a truck was sitting on it. But for the first time in years, he could feel a strong, steady beat. Thump thump. Thump thump. He blinked, trying to focus. The first face he saw was his mother, Madam Choi. She looked perfect again. Her hair was fixed, her makeup was on. She was holding his hand, smiling like a saint. "My son," she whispered, tears of joy in her eyes. "You are back. You are alive." Tae-hyung tried to speak, but his throat was dry. "Water." She quickly held a straw to his lips. He drank greedily. Then his memory came rushing back. The dinner. The argument. The collapse. "Amara. Amara," he rasped. "Where is she? Is she okay?" Madam Choi's face changed. The smile didn't leave her lips, but her eyes became cold. She set the water glass down hard. "Forget about her," Madam Choi said smoothly. "What?" Tae-hyung tried to sit up, but the pain stopped him. "Where is she, mother?" Madam Choi sighed, acting as if she was very disappointed. "Tae-hyung, I didn't want to tell you this while you were recovering. But she left." Tae-hyung froze. "Left? What do you mean?" "When you collapsed," Madam Choi lied, stroking his hair, she saw the reality. "She realized you were sick. She realized the money might stop if you died. She got scared. She said she didn't sign up to be a nurse for a dying man. She walked out of the hospital while you were in surgery." "No," Tae-hyung shook his head weakly. "Amara wouldn't do that. She loves me. She loves your wallet," Madam Choi said firmly. "But do not worry. You are alive because of a miracle. An anonymous donor saved you. A true hero. Not that selfish girl." Tae-hyung closed his eyes. His heart, Amara's heart, was beating in his chest, but he felt broken. Could it be true? Did she really leave him when he needed her most? For 2 days, Tae-hyung lay in that bed. He stared at the ceiling. He didn't eat. He didn't speak. He just felt the pain of betrayal. Madam Choi sat by his side, pleased with herself. She had won. Her son was alive and the stain was gone. But secrets in a hospital have a way of coming out. On the 3rd day, a young nurse walked into the room. She was holding a clipboard. She looked nervous. She didn't see Madam Choi sitting in the corner chair, hidden by a large vase of flowers. "Excuse me, Mr. Choi," the nurse said softly. "I am here to check your vitals." Tae-hyung nodded slowly. "Go ahead." The nurse checked the machines. Then she looked at her clipboard and frowned. "Mr. Choi, Dr. Kim asked me to update you on the donor's condition. Since it was a direct donation, we usually keep the patients separated, but—" "Donor?" Tae-hyung asked, confused. "My mother said it was anonymous. A stranger." The nurse looked confused. "Anonymous?" "No, sir. It was a direct match donation. Very rare. The donor is in the ICU down the hall." Madam Choi stood up abruptly from the corner. "Nurse, get out." The nurse jumped, dropping her pen. "Oh, Madam Choi. I didn't see you." "I said get out." Madam Choi hissed, walking toward her aggressively. "Stop bothering my son with nonsense." But Tae-hyung's mind was racing. "Wait," he said. His voice was stronger now. "Nurse, stay there." He looked at his mother. Then he looked at the nurse. "Who is the donor?" "Tae-hyung, don't listen to her," Madam Choi said, panic entering her voice. "She is new. She doesn't know anything." "Who is the donor?" Tae-hyung shouted, ignoring the pain in his chest. The nurse looked terrified. She looked from the mother to the son. She thought she was doing the right thing. It is Miss Amara, sir," the nurse stammered. The room went dead silent. Tae-hyung felt like he had been punched. "Amara?" "Yes," the nurse continued, trembling. "She begged Dr. Kim to take her heart valve. She said she was your girlfriend. But, sir, she is not doing well. Her body is reacting badly to the surgery. She hasn't woken up yet." Tae-hyung turned his head slowly to look at his mother. His eyes were filled with a fire that scared her. "You lied," he whispered. "She didn't leave. She gave me her heart. And you told me she abandoned me. I did it for you." Madam Choi screamed, losing control. "I wanted you to have a clean start. Without her. She is the only reason I am breathing." Tae-hyung yelled. He ripped the 4-needle out of his arm. Blood sprayed onto the white sheets. "Tae-hyung, stop. You cannot move." Madam Choi cried, trying to grab him. "Don't touch me," he pushed her away. He swung his legs over the side of the bed. He was weak. He was dizzy. But he stood up. He grabbed the 4-pole to support himself. "Where is she?" he asked the nurse. "Room 402, the nurse whispered. "But sir, you shouldn't." Tae-hyung began to walk. Every step was agony. His chest felt like it was ripping open. But he didn't stop. He dragged his broken body out of the VIP room, down the long hallway. Nurses tried to stop him. Mr. Choi, go back to bed. He pushed past them. He had to see her. He reached room 402. It wasn't a VIP room. It was small. Dark. He pushed the door open. There she was. Amara looked small in the bed. She was pale, almost white. There were tubes in her nose and throat. A machine was breathing for her. A large bandage covered her chest, the exact same spot where his bandage was. She had scars. He had life. Tae-hyung stumbled to her bedside and collapsed into the chair. He took her limp hand. It was cold. Amara, he choked out, tears falling onto her hand. I'm here. I'm so sorry. Just then, the heart monitor next to Amara's bed changed its rhythm. Beep, beep, beep. The line went flat. Tae-hyung screamed, Doctor, help her. Code blue. Code blue. Room 402. The alarm was screaming louder than ever before. Doctors and nurses flooded into the tiny room, pushing Tae-hyung out of the way. He crashed into the wall, his own chest burning with pain, but he didn't look away. Charging to 300. Clear. Thump. Amara's body jumped off the mattress. Tae-hyung fell to his knees. He grabbed the metal bed rail, his knuckles turning white. Amara, don't leave me. Please God, take me instead. Take me. Dr. Kim was sweating. We are losing her. Her heart is too weak from the surgery trauma. Give me 1 milligram of epinephrine. He injected the needle straight into her fore. Come on, Amara. You saved a life today. Don't lose yours. Beep, beep. Beep. The line on the monitor stayed flat. The sound was a long, endless tone that pierced Tae-hyung's soul. Dr. Kim looked at the clock. He looked at the nurse. He raised the paddles one last time. Everyone clear. Zap. Silence. Tae-hyung put his head down on the bed, sobbing into the sheets. I love you. I love you. I love you. Beep. Tae-hyung's head snapped up. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. We have a rhythm, the nurse shouted. It's weak, but it's there. She's coming back. Tae-hyung let out a cry that was half laugh, half sob. He reached through the rails and grabbed her hand again. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. 2 days later. The sunlight was streaming through the window. Amara slowly opened her eyes. Her chest felt heavy and sore. Her throat was dry. Water, she whispered. A hand immediately held a cup to her lips. She drank, then blinked to see who it was. It was Tae-hyung. He was sitting in a wheelchair next to her bed, wearing his own hospital gown. He looked pale, but his eyes were shining with love. Tae-hyung, she rasped. You are alive. Because of you, he said, his voice shaking. He leaned forward and kissed her hand. You crazy, stubborn, wonderful woman. You gave me your heart. Amara smiled weakly. I wasn't using it anyway. It belongs to you. Tae-hyung laughed, wiping a tear from his eye. I know everything. I know my mother lied. I know she tried to kick you out. I know you snuck back in. Amara, I am so sorry. It's okay, she whispered. We are alive. That is all that matters. Suddenly, the door handle turned. Click. Tae-hyung's face hardened. He looked at the door. It was Madam Choi. She walked in slowly. She wasn't wearing her expensive jewelry. She wasn't wearing her sharp suit. She was wearing a simple gray dress. She looked older. Tired. She stopped at the foot of the bed. She looked at Tae-hyung, who was glaring at her. Then she looked at Amara. Amara tried to sit up, fear in her eyes. Was she coming to insult her again? Was she coming to offer her money to leave? Mother, Tae-hyung said coldly. Leave. Now. Madam Choi didn't leave. She walked to the side of the bed. She looked at the bandage on Amara's chest. Then she looked at the matching bandage on her son's chest. She realized that the blood pumping through her son's veins right now was Amara's blood. The valve opening and closing in his heart was Amara's tissue. They were literally part of each other now. Madam Choi's lips trembled. She looked at Amara's dark skin against the white sheets. For the first time, she didn't see a stain. She saw a savior. Slowly, shockingly, Madam Choi did something she had never done in her entire life. She dropped to her knees. She bowed her head all the way to the floor, her forehead touching the cold linoleum. In Korean culture, this is the deepest form of apology. It is a surrender. I am sorry, Madam Choi sobbed into the floor. The room was silent. Amara and Tae-hyung were stunned. I was blind, Madam Choi cried, her voice muffled. I thought value came from money. I thought royalty came from bloodlines. I called you dirty. I treated you like an animal. But you You are the only one of us who is truly noble. She lifted her head, tears streaming down her face, ruining her perfect makeup. You saved my son when I could not. My billions were useless. My connections were useless. Only your love saved him. Please, if you can ever find it in your heart, forgive this foolish old woman. Amara looked at the woman who had made her life hell. She could have been angry. She could have kicked her out. But Amara looked at Tae-hyung, and she saw the pain in his face. He wanted his mother, but he needed her to be a better person. Amara reached out her hand. It was shaking. She placed it gently on Madam Choi's shoulder. Stand up, mother, Amara said softly. Madam Choi froze. She looked up at Amara. You called me mother? Tae-hyung is a part of me now, Amara smiled, pointing to her chest. That makes us family. And family forgives. Madam Choi stood up and grabbed Amara's hand, burying her face in it, weeping uncontrollably. Tae-hyung reached out and put his hand over theirs. 3 hands. Different colors. 1 heartbeat. 6 months later. The dining room in the Park Mansion was full of laughter. It wasn't quiet and cold anymore. Tae-hyung was healthy and strong, laughing at a joke. Amara was glowing, wearing a beautiful engagement ring. And at the head of the table, Madam Choi was not sipping tea. She was holding a large spoon. Okay, everyone, Madam Choi announced happily. I tried to make it myself this time. Amara taught me. She placed a large, steaming bowl of Nigerian egusi soup in the center of the table. It wasn't perfect, but it smelled like love. It looks delicious, mother, Tae-hyung said. It smells just like home, Amara added, beaming. They all ate together. The barriers of race, money, and pride were gone. They had learned a hard lesson that almost cost them everything. The end. Now, here's the question of the day. Many people say that Madam Choi didn't deserve forgiveness because she was only sorry after she got caught. Do you think Amara was too nice? Or is forgiveness the only way to find peace? Let's fight it out in the comments below. I'll be replying to the best answers.